Hey, welcome back to ZimDog. So we're back at the new Mongolian River here, and we are currently at the Tomgal location. Actually, when you come here, you spawn in just right here. So if you just turn around, there's this rock here. Again, in the beta, at least the reports from the beta that I've seen, mostly from KP Shimino, this was seen as a good spot for some of the fish like the Artic Grayling. We also did catch one linnet on common minnow. We had a trophy Arctic on bark beetle larva. Also using the side swimmers and the boiled red roe. Again, you can see a large percentage of the fish have been Artic Grayling. We've seen an eyed, could have sworn I had a trophy eyed. Yep, there's trophy eyed on bark beetle, a trophy common dace on bark beetle. The bark beetle has done quite well. Everything has been pretty active of those four baits, but so far early report is that the bark beetle has done quite well. I did go ahead and mark the trophy Artic Grayling that again did come on bark beetle larva, and I will look more closely at the setups. I'll kind of show you what we're using after we get a little bit more fishing in. Hopefully the time will continue to be pretty active as we're still pretty early in terms of the spot. Oh, you can't really see it, can you? Let's see if we can. Let's get out of the way a little bit here for now. As far as the temperature, and so this is just one of the temperature days, right? The partly cloudy, but so far it seems to be working pretty well. There may be some variation day to day. I will say the one that's probably been the slowest is the common minnow, which we caught the linnet on. I'm going to throw it in a little bit different spot here. Just see if we can get a little bit more activity. Just kind of out in the middle, out in the open. Because that one we've only caught the one fish on, I believe. Everything else we've had multiple fish on, as far as I can tell. It's not the fastest bite rate in the world, but it's not bad either. The one thing I would like to do, and I'll talk more about this when I show you all the setups we're using. I would love to find like the perfect strength of gear where you're still getting some XP. However, you're not, having to struggle on every fish to get them in. So that's one thing that I might want to do here in a spot like this. If you're not worried about the XP too much, then, using the setups we have, even though I've got different strength setups in terms of how they lay on the rod pod here, these two setups are just way overpowered. I tried to make a little bit smaller setups on the two cat boxers on 1 and 2. We just caught a fish on both at the same time. Oh, this is a decent one, though, so let's definitely get this one in. Is this a trophy Arctic? I think it is. It's not trophy. It's a nice one, though. Wasn't quite trophy. All right, let's see what we've got on the boiled red roe. Also an Arctic, but also not a trophy. But they add up. You're catching enough of them that, at least in terms of the money you're making, it feels like it's adding up. I mean, we can see what we're at. I've probably been fishing 10 to 15 minutes here. We can kind of see where we are at this point. We're already here. So we're almost 5,000 or 4,100. And the problem is the XP, right? But again, if we switch the gear up, get a little bit smaller gear, we could get rid of that. Try to get a little bit better credit for the XP side of things. Although, I don't know. Even though I don't think this is a known taming spot, you're always kind of nervous that something really huge is going to hit your line. I think the only one that a little bit of a possibility with that, it would be the minnows that we're using. But we're using smaller hooks than you would use to go for taming, so hopefully we're safe there. I don't know. The minnows are just really slow. I think the only fish we've caught on those, yeah, is the linnock. So I'm almost tempted to try something else. Like I wanted to try grasshoppers. At least the eyed, the linnock, and it was either the Artic Grayling or maybe one of the other ones listed. Oh, here we go. Listed grasshoppers as one of their preferred bait. So it. Oh no! I went too soon? Oh, and that's the bait that's been so slow too. That stinks. Did I go too soon or too late? I don't know. It must have been too soon, but... This is a dace, I'm hoping? Oh, it's a little eyed. All these baits readily available. None of them require like super high level or anything. So pretty fun little spot to fish, and I bet there's other good places as well. We just got to do some experimentation. I wanted to start with the spots that had been talked about in the pre-release version and just kind of check those. Turns out they still seem to be working, but I'm not convinced that there aren't better spots. This one in particular, I mean the taimen that we caught in the last video, that seemed really solid. I bet there are other taimen spots, but I would think that that one's going to always be a part of your rotation unless things get changed pretty drastically. This spot I'm not exactly sure yet. You know, I was really hoping that we might see some of the emules as well. We haven't seen the humpback whitefish either. So there's just a couple of fish species that don't seem to be in this spot, or at least not on the baits that I'm currently using. You would think these side swimmers might occasionally catch them. We're all over the Artic Graylings, and that is what the grasshoppers were listed on, besides just the linnock and the eyed. So, I don't know. We'll give it a little bit more time. We're kind of heading into the peak time of fishing, at least for the morning for this day. And there's also going to be evening. Yeah, it's heavy on Arctics right now, but other than the one linnock, you know, the other species, the eyed and the dace, that's not really what I'm wanting to see a lot of. Would love to find a good spot with some of the other whitefish, to be fair. And there's just so many spots. I mean, obviously there's just lots of places we could try. We can also read the fish description to see if there's any hints there about maybe places we should be looking. But I'll do some more experimentation. If I find out some stuff, certainly we'll make some follow-up videos. But at least we're starting to, at least this spot's still working with the Artic Grayling. It seems like linnock's at least possible. I suppose the other thing we could try, and I don't really know how to use this thing. I haven't tried yet. These little mini cranks. Do we twitch them or do we just reel them straight in? Holy cow. What do you think that was? What do you think that was? That is our smallest setup. I don't know that we were ever going to get that fish in on that setup though. All right, so that was a... So we've got 14.5 leader wise, and I might not have a backup leader. We could put the 15 kilo leader on there. Hook, we want 2.0. And then bait-wise, we had the... this was the one that had the bark beetle larva. Man, that was a big fish. So we need to turn down the friction brake in case that happens again. Goodness. Alright. What were we doing here? What we were doing here is trying to figure out how to even make this work. How would you use a mini crank? I'm wondering if it's straight retrieval. That seems a little fast, doesn't it? I don't know that right-clicking is doing anything with this. But these mini cranks definitely came out for this map, at least potentially. I'm trying to remember with spin fishing what other patterns we should be using on this, if anything. Retrieval patterns or whatever. I think there's a fish on, yeah. A little fellow. We went from the biggest fish in the river to the smallest on the same bait and setup. What would you do on these? All right, it's another pretty good sized fish. Interesting. Alright, so let's see if we get the XP. Is that an Artic Grayling? If it is, it's a huge one. It's got to be a trophy. Yes, unique Artic Grayling. And we still got the negative on XP. So, I just don't know. It's a pretty fish. I just don't know that we ever get our gear small enough to actually be comfortable fishing for these and also not get the XP curse. It might not be a realistic goal. It doesn't say on here like the best way to retrieve them or anything, does it? It says floating. Are we supposed to let them float back to the top? And is that a little eyed? Maybe we're supposed to let them float back to the top or something. That's just the buoyancy, though. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. What did I do? Did I take the lure off? I did. 1 meter. Let's use the green one. Let's just reel it straight in. It goes right to 1 meter. I don't know. 2 retrieval speed seems a little fast just eyeballing it, but how does it look in the water? What if we do it straight retrieval, do 1 speed? At least it gives us something to play with while we're waiting on these bites. It's another Arctic. I mean, this is just absolutely an Artic Grayling spot. There's no way around it. Alright, here we go. So in Russian Fishing 4, if I was fishing with this kind of lure, I would be twitching it, right? As I'm retrieving. But that doesn't give us any sort of like retrieval notification. So I must be missing something. Somebody that's more familiar with this game can probably tell me what should I be doing with the retrieval of these lures. I don't know if the server's just getting hit pretty hard tonight with the new stuff out, but getting a lot of like loading, spinning loading wheels at different times. What else could we try with this? It's kind of cool, but I don't know why that would necessarily catch a fish. I feel like usually this Fishing Planet tells you when you're doing the right kind of retrieval. Like you always get a good retrieval message, right? So I'm just not thinking of what we're supposed to be doing with these cranks, I don't think. Ooh. What if we had bark beetle larvae on every single rod? How fast would this spot be? There's a unique eyed. That's kind of interesting too. Look, the lure is just floating in the current. I'd love to figure out how to use these. Because, I mean, I feel like they're definitely meant for here, right? What else do we have that we could try? We could go small jig head and the minnow. Now, am I going to be able to figure out how to fish with this? We should be able to do jigging. Like start and stop or something, right? Stop and go. There we go. Doesn't mean it's going to catch anything, but at least we can get that encouragement of like, yes, you're doing an actual retrieval. Now, here's the question. What if we just do 1 speed and then try to jig with it? Twitching is what it's called. It's just up near the surface though. That doesn't seem right with this, right? Somehow I doubt that's right. Because going faster is not going to make it... Going faster is just going to make that problem worse, isn't it? All right, so what if we do stop and go over here? I mean, it feels like we've seen some fish activity, unless that's just the lure jumping around making all that. Let's let it sink to the bottom. Oh, it scared me. Another decent Arctic on the bark beetle. Man, we've got some Artic Graylings. I mean, if nothing else, we're making some money. Even though we can't figure out the experience thing, it's definitely making a little money here. I do want to figure out how to do some spin fishing for small... Ooh! Did we just hit something? Hey, a perch! Miracles never cease, right? Alright. So, what I want to do is, before we finish up, let's fast forward to the evening and just see... we won't go for long, but let's just see if the results seem similar, or let's see if it seems like we fished the spot out or something. I do think I want to try grasshoppers on that last line. The minnows are just so slow right now. Night fishing might also be interesting, but I think I just want to go to here. Alright, let's give her a try. So very similar to what we've been doing. We're going to put the bark beetle larva right on this spot. And again, once we finish up here, I will pull all my gear out and I'll show you exactly what we've been using. Alright, and this will be... These side swimmers have not been as good as I had hoped. Getting crushed a little bit maybe. Alright, and this one we want to go with grasshopper instead. And again, just to kind of test it, I'm going to put it right near where the other rods are. Just to see what kind of activity we get. And we'll have to try some other spots to see if we can find some of the other whitefish here. I feel like that was just a mercy perch that we caught before. What other lures do we even have? Those are too heavy for this. It would have to be the mini cranks that we would use. But I don't really know how to use them, to be honest. I think... I feel like crankbaits in real life, a lot of times, they're made to just retrieve straight in, right? Because of the, like, the way they're sort of programmed to move in the water as you're pulling them in. I don't know that. Although I think if you're supposed to do straight retrieval on something in Fishing Planet, doesn't it usually tell you straight retrieval as you're doing it? Or am I wrong on that? All right, this is on the side swimmers. Maybe we didn't have these in the best spot before. Because it really wasn't, this was the second slowest bait, but I sort of had it like off to the right, kind of floating off in the middle of nowhere. So maybe we want to put all of them closer to this rock. I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to do something really weird here. We're going to go up speed to 3. It's going to be super fast, but I'm just going to try it. It is fast. Maybe we should try doing it this way, but do it with 2. Before I completely give up on the mini cranks. I'll do some more testing off camera maybe. Oh, that hit it. Alright, we might be onto something there. It's not a perch either. It's a trophy-eyed? Hey, we got the mini crank to work. Oh. We figured it out. Is that a little dace or something? Or just a little eyed? The spot has really slowed down in the afternoon. Although we've been here long enough now where it could be one of those things where, you know, you need to rotate spots. I mean, that just happens sometimes, right? So it seems like 2 retrieval speed, not right clicking or anything, just straight retrieval. That's at least getting some eye to bite on this, so maybe that was the answer. You could probably do 1 retrieval speed too. I may have just not tried it. I may have not been patient enough. Hey, we caught something. Oh, is that grasshopper? First fish on a grasshopper here. Let's see what it ended up being. Looks like an eye to me. So one thing that I don't love about this spot is we've got a lot of eyed. I really wanted to try to target these graylings and stuff a little bit more. We've caught a lot of grayling, but now it makes sense that on the grasshopper, that might be what we would get. Over here is where I caught that linnock, right in the first cast, but it was on the minnows. But we did have a linnock down there. Let's see, where is it? Yep, common minnow. That was in the morning. Midday trophy-eyed on the mini crank. That's pretty cool. I'm glad we got it to work a little bit. Ooh. We may miss that. Alright. We've seen a lot of fish in that spot, so let's make sure we don't miss this one. Oh, this is tiny though. What am I doing? We might be okay. Alright. We got both. So this is on the bark beetle larva again. This might have been... Yeah, this might have been the same type of fish that snapped us off so quick earlier. No, not quite. So this is a little bit smaller. But it could have been a grayling. It might have just been a big grayling. It's another unique. Woo, wow. Again, pretty fish, very cool, lots of money. Just no XP. No XP at all. Actually, all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's go ahead and let me let's get everything in. We'll look exactly at what we've caught and what we've caught it on. Just so you can see the setups real quick and all that. And in case you want them, here are the stats. I mean, the location of this trophy Arctic mark. I mean, obviously we've been catching trophy and uniques all around in this area, but that's the one marker I laid down. All right, so when you travel, fast travel to the Tom Gall area, it's going to sort of spawn you in right down here, right? You just kind of turn around and come down to where you see this rock. This is where we've been fishing at. And in terms of our setup, so the first one, we're using, again, the first two setups I'm going to show you, we've got the cat boxers on. And I was doing this so that I was trying to get down to a little bit more reasonable, you know, size line and everything. We've got the cat boxer, the griffin spod. We've got the 0.6 19 test kilo mono line, and then a 18.1 fluorocarbon leader. We're using 2-aught barbless hooks on all 4 of these setups. Now, in terms of bait, this one's got boiled red roe. Next setup, same thing except even smaller line, 14.5. I didn't have the right size leader, so I threw a 15.2 on there, but a little smaller size. And this was with the bark beetle larva. This is the setup, the smallest setup. This is the one that got popped that one time on the, probably it was a unique grayling, but we can't know for sure. That was bark beetle larva, probably the most active bait for me here in this spot. All right, the third setup, we had, instead of the cat boxer, by the way, the second setup had a mega tank reel. I just put stuff together with what I had in my inventory. All right, the third setup has, these are our oversized Leviathan on the heavy chaser, 24 kilo line and leader, 2-aught barbless hook with the side swimmers, which I want to do some more testing. I'm hoping that these will end up being a little better than they first appear. It seems like a perfect bait for these fish we're trying to catch. And then finally on the fourth one, same setup as the third one, 24 kilo, and this one we had grasshopper. Although for most of the video we had common minnow on there. So those are the setups, and this is what we caught. So what can we advertise that we've caught here? We've got unique grayling ×2 and a unique eyed. We did have one linnet, but mostly what you've got here are the eyeds and Arctic graylings. I mean, really, if you're trying to define what this spot is, yes, we did have a trophy dace and some other like random stuff. Uniques were the eyed and the graylings. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. So anyway, there you go. There you have it. Got to catch some whitefish. I still want to figure out this guy. Shallow waters. Better chance catching it near the bottom. So I don't know. And then the other one is the humpback. Another schooling fish. Its activity peaks in the evening, but it's also active during daylight hours. I just don't think they were here. Cloudy weather, active throughout the day. Again, all these are talking about feeding sort of, river bottom around the crustaceans and stuff. So we should be able to find spots that have both of those along with the grayling potentially, but certainly the amul and the humpback. I just don't think we found the best spot yet. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Tight lines, I'll see you next time.